Haarlem is a historic city located just west of Amsterdam in the province of North Holland in the Netherlands. With its picturesque canals, gabled houses, and historic sites, it has long been a popular tourist destination. Tourism in Haarlem dates back to the Middle Ages, when pilgrims would pass through the city on their way to the shrine of St. Bavo in Ghent. In the 17th century, Haarlem became a recreational destination for the elite of Amsterdam. Wealthy merchants and regents had country estates built along the Sparen River and would spend summers there to escape the crowded city. It was in the 19th century that tourism truly began to develop in Haarlem. With the development of the railway system, Haarlem became more accessible to tourists and day trippers. Well-to-do families from Amsterdam would come to Haarlem for outings, to shop, and to enjoy the scenic beauty of the area. Guidebooks of the time recommended visiting sites like the Grote Markt, the historic town hall, the Grote Kerk Church, and the Windmill de Adriaan. In the late 1800s, beach tourism became popular in Zandvoort on the North Sea coast just west of Haarlem. Vacationers would take the train from Amsterdam to Haarlem and then travel on to the beach resort area. Haarlem benefited from the tourist traffic to Zandvoort. The early 20th century saw the rise of cultural tourism in Haarlem. Museums like the Frans Hals Museum, established in 1862, and the Tailors Museum, founded in 1778, attracted art and history lovers. The historic architecture of Haarlem was also a draw for tourists interested in old Dutch towns and architecture. During World War II, tourism declined dramatically. However, after the war, domestic and international tourism soon picked up again. In the 1950s and 60s, Haarlem became a popular day trip destination for European tourists, especially from Britain and Germany. Tour buses and tourist boats ferried visitors around to see the historic sites of the city. In the 1970s and 80s, mass tourism began to cause challenges in Haarlem. Large volumes of tourist traffic clogged the narrow streets, caused disturbances for residents, and threatened to undermine the historic character of the city. In response, Haarlem implemented policies to promote sustainable tourism and divert tourist traffic away from the most sensitive areas. Today, Haarlem continues to be a popular tourist destination in the Netherlands, drawing about 6 million visitors per year. Key attractions include the Grote Markt, the Red Light District, the Frans Hals Museum, the Tailors Museum, the Cathedral of St. Bavo, the Amsterdam's Port City Gate, the historic windmills, and the Corrie ten Boom House. There is also a lively cafe, shopping, and food scene that attracts visitors. While tourism remains important to the local economy, Haarlem has taken steps to manage tourism sustainably. Tourist taxes fund preservation and development projects. Traffic flow is regulated to reduce congestion in historic areas. The city promotes visitor dispersion to lesser-known sites and neighborhood districts like Haarlem Noord. There is also cooperation between the municipality, residents, and entrepreneurs to address quality of life concerns. Through careful planning and smart tourism management, Haarlem maintains its character and charm while still welcoming visitors interested in experiencing this historic Dutch city. The long history of tourism in Haarlem continues to evolve, finding new ways to balance visitor access with preserving heritage and serving local needs. For centuries it has thrived as both a tourist destination and living community thanks to this thoughtful and cooperative approach to sustainable tourism. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please consider liking and subscribing.